Alright, what is up? The name is Second Heat, bringing you guys my review of the 8th installment of the Fast and Furious movie. I actually just saw it yesterday night, Thursday at like 7, and this is the following morning. Now, first, let me just say that I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It was really good. And I'm not going to try to spoil anything, or at least nothing big. So, if I had to pretty much give a quick little summary for anybody who doesn't want to see this entire video, what you can expect from this movie is fast cars, which is expected from a Fast and Furious movie, a lot of action, which is expected in all these recent Fast and Furious movies, a lot of funny moments, a lot of shocking moments, and a lot, and I mean a lot, of slow-mo. Like, it felt like every kind of action scene had like a slow-mo at least every other time. So they use a crowd ton of slow-mo, especially around the end of this film. It felt like they just went ham on slow-mo. Like, they had to use a certain amount of slow-mo, and even though they used a good amount throughout like the first half, the first 3/4 of the movie, they still had like a bunch more that they needed to put it in. And so the final quarter of the movie, they dumped in slow-mo after slow-mo after slow-mo. Slow-mos had slow-mos. It felt like it was crazy. But in the end, it was still a very fun film to watch. And I really want to say fun and not like great or perfect, because I feel like those titles go more so toward like, I know it's probably like cliche to say, but like the Marvel movies, like those movies, like they straight kill it. They're awesome. They're so good. The Fast and Furious movies are just one of those movies where you just want to sit down and just have a fun time to just watch, eat some popcorn. That's pretty much what this movie was. I loved it a lot, though. There's really no complaints I have for this movie. Now, to break things down, still not going to like spoilers. They do, but they do have, you know, a lot of focus on like the car scene in the beginning of the film. This isn't any like big spoilers, but we all know, we all saw the trailers where they go to Cuba and, you know, they dove into like the car scene. They do this in pretty much like every other Fast and Furious films. They at least have some parts dedicated to the car scene, even though a lot of people like to complain that they kind of went away from the car scene. No, in every film, they at least have some dedication toward it. And I would really, really, really recommend that for anybody who hasn't seen this yet, but go check out the Mighty Car Mods video where they actually went to Cuba and talked about the car scene there, because that was a little bit, not a full-on collaboration, but they kind of did it more so to get a better understanding of the car scene over in Cuba, since Fast and Furious 8 has a scene in Cuba that's about the car scene. So I really recommend you guys checking that video out. It will really make you appreciate that scene of the film more. I definitely felt a lot more of a connection, because when you actually see Mighty Car Mods film, you see the struggles that they go through when it comes to cars. So when you see what goes on in the film, and they do some discussions that, seeing the Mighty Car Mods film, like, there's definitely a connection. You know that what goes on in Cuba, they actually did acknowledge goes on in the film. Like, they're not saying, oh, look at my 2JZ, you know, RX-7, you know, stuff like that isn't a thing over in Cuba. So they actually did focus on what goes on over there. So it was actually really nice. Outside of that, moving on, they had a lot of comedic events going on. Some comedic events were also not just, you know, thrown in there just to be there, but they had comedic events that kind of, you know, had a bit more character development going on, so that was a good thing. Everything didn't feel like just thrown in. Some of the comedic stuff kind of had a purpose, and I really did like that. Although it did feel like they really went overboard on comedic stuff, but to be honest, I was laughing the entire time they were having funny moments. Even like the entire crowd, you can hear like everybody just laughing a lot. So even though they went pretty ham on the comedic events, it was still good fun. Like I said, this was a fun film to watch. It's not a perfect film, but it is seriously a fun film to watch. Now, when it came to the action scenes, wow, it's really, really badass. I enjoyed it a lot. All the scenes that they had on there, the stuff that they did with the cars, you know, again, not much spoilers. A lot of the stuff, you kind of see what's going on when you even watch the trailers. Like when they had the scene where they're up against Toretto in the cars, and, you know, they're harpooning his car, kind of keeping him placed, and Toretto escaping. Again, that was in the trailers. You should know what's going to happen. But seeing how all that went down was pretty insane. The jail scene, which was also in the trailers, that was awesome. A lot of ass kicking there. Pretty fun. And then, of course, the end scene up against the submarine. Again, that's not even a spoiler. It's all over the posters. It's in the trailers. None of this is spoilers, but getting to actually see the whole action going on, it was awesome. A lot of people, or a lot of like diehards of like the original Fast and Furious movies, they probably don't like the fact that they're doing a lot of this, but as somebody who, you know, appreciates a good film no matter what it started as, I enjoyed this a lot. It was really, really fun to watch. Now, one of the things I will mention that's, I don't know about this being a spoiler, but I just want to say that I don't want to get to that point yet. One other thing I want to say is Dominic Toretto. I'm not going to spoil anything, but as we all know, he does go rogue, and all I have to say is when, like, you figure out, like, what's going on, that's all I gotta say. Like, when you figure out what's going on, your jaw will drop. You're like, oh my gosh, like, this just happened. So it's really crazy. But what I want to talk about is Paul Walker. As we all know, R.I.P., rest in peace. They do mention him in the movie, like, slightly. This isn't a big spoiler, but like they mention him saying like, you know, maybe we can get his help, but then they also say like, no, we promise we'd never do that again. Like, we're leaving him out of this. You know, I guess that was kind of their way of saying, you know, like they're respecting his death. Like, I'm glad that they didn't bring him in like CGI with his brother, but at least they kind of acknowledged his existence, because I guess if you probably never knew that he passed away, some people might be like, well, why don't you bring Brian O'Connor in? You know, where is he? You know, at least they're like, no, we're not bringing him into this. We got to do this on our own. You know, Brian O'Connor, in movie-wise, has a family. He has Mia. He has his kid. Let's not bring him into this. So they did mention that, but they did a good job at kind of acknowledging him in the movies, especially later on, which, again, I'm not going to spoil, but it got me a little emotional. Didn't cry, but it's like, I felt something. But one of the things that I didn't like, though, well, I shouldn't say didn't like, but felt awkward, was one of the new guys in this film, which I don't know if he's gonna be like in the team or this is like his only time being in the film, but it felt awkward having this guy in here because it kind of felt like he was replacing Brian. Again, it's not like it, or at least I don't know if their purpose is, since Brian's gone, we need somebody as replacement, and this is the guy. It wasn't like an intentional, like we're going out to go find him. It was just, he's kind of there. And this, like, now I understand why in the tuner crates, why in my box, like the trading card for JDM members, it's a Rocket Bunny FRS or BRZ 86, whichever you want to say. The new guy, he was driving that, and he was also driving the Subaru, which was actually in my April tuner crate, the Fate and the Furious one, the white shirt. On the back it had a Subaru. I was wondering, like, why is that on there? I now know. In the snow scene, he's also driving that. Not going to like big spoilers, but it just felt awkward, you know, having somebody driving the tuner cars and not having it be Brian. Guess because like we're so used to the JDM guy being O'Connor that it just felt weird having somebody else fill in that role. It just felt very, very awkward. But I still liked it in the end. But again, it was just an awkward thing to have. But whatever, it happened. The movie itself was still good. I liked it a lot. You know, all the characters were still being them. Roman Pierce, the comedic relief, throughout so many jokes. All were, or at least majority of it was really, really funny. So again, he had me dying out laughing. They really went ham on the comedic stuff. Hobbs, you know, being that badass, especially in the beginning, and this isn't like a major spoiler, but in the beginning, you know, they kind of acknowledge. Let me just say this isn't a big spoiler, but like he's with his daughter, you know, they're at a soccer game, and he's a coach, and pretty much like one of the guys comes up to him saying like, "Wow, there are actually a lot of moms here," and they look over at the crowd, and the crowd is just like all women looking at him, and he's Hobbs is trying to cover up and be like, "Well, it's, you know, it's a big soccer area I live in," where it's like, well, there are like more moms than children, but it's kind of, it's implied that, you know, the moms are there for Hobbs and not the game itself. But it was really funny. So I like that, and you know, he's just being a badass. It's also shown in the trailers that I think his name is Jason Statham, whoever the antagonist was in Fast and Furious 7. You know, it's all seen in the trailers. We all know this is in the trailers that he comes back. So badass. Seeing all the fight scenes that he gets into, so good. Tej just being that counter comedic effect for Roman Pierce was awesome, and also being the techie guy, it was really good. I really, for Letty, it was really hard watching her in all this. You know, this is all acting, of course, but it's like the entire time, because obviously when Toretto goes rogue, and well, that's Letty's man, it gets very kind of like emotional seeing everything like happening through her eyes. It's like you can see the confusion. She's very heartbroken. She's so confused, and like seeing all that through her is just wow. I don't think I'm missing any other main characters though, but the overall film was really, really good. They did bring in a lot of surprises. I do want to say that, I'm not going to spoil anything, but do I recommend seeing this film? Yes. Yes, I do. I still go with the fact that, you know, they should have ended off with 7 with the sending off of Paul Walker. But, you know, companies got to make money, and Furious 7 made a lot of money, so it's no surprise that they decided to continue on the film. And looking at how this one ended, they kind of ended it off where there's room for a 9th. I believe they said like a while back during like Furious 7 that they do plan on going all the way to like 10 films, which is insane to think. But looking at the way how Furious 8, I mean Fate of the Furious, whichever you want to say, the way how this movie went on, I kind of want there to be a 9th. Just because of everything that went on, it's like I want to see more being done with it. So, not spoiling anything, but I can see there being a 9th film. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, next year or two, they announce the next movie coming out. So, do I recommend watching this movie? Yes. Was it good? Yes. It was a very, like I said, this was a fun film. Don't go into it thinking you might get like a Marvel style film. Just go into it, you know, knowing that this is going to be a very fun thing to watch. A lot of comedy, a lot of action. You still have cars going on, so that's still good. But overall, it's just a really fun thing to watch. I liked it a lot, and well, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, this has been your boy taking heat, and I'm out. Peace. Make the ground shake.